Hi, I'm Emily Guy Birkin, and you're listening to Deep Thoughts About Stupid Shit. Because pop culture is still culture. And shouldn't you know what's in your head? In today's special bonus episode, I will be discussing Back to the Future with my sister, Tracie Guy Decker. And with you. Let's dive in.
Have you ever had something you love dismissed because it's just pop culture? What others might deem stupid shit, you know matters. You know it's worth talking and thinking about. And so do we. So come overthink with us as we delve into our deep thoughts about stupid shit.
Okay, Tracie, I know that Back to the Future is kind of a pillar of your childhood as well. I don't recall if we saw it in the theater. I remember seeing 2 and 3 in the theater with you. But, we definitely, it was on regular rotation at like sleepovers and with our cousin and stuff like that. But tell me what you remember about the film.
You know, it's funny because a lot of the movies that we have taken on so far have been ones that like I have strong associations with Dad about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This one I have a strong association with our stepfather.
Me too. Yeah.
So it's interesting that that's coming in on this one. So you know what comes to my mind first, besides our stepfather, is actually from the show Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, the sitcom. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay, I recommend it.
Okay.
But there's a character who's like this kind of B movie director who thinks of himself as like very avant-garde and like edgy, and he has this idea for this movie that he's super excited about that's so dark and interesting about this man who time travels back in time and has sex with his own mom. And it's supposed to be like really like edgy and whatever, and he's talking about it at one point, and a guy he doesn't really know but just someone who's in the periphery is like, oh yeah, like Back to the Future, man. And like this like edgy tough guy is like, so he feels so betrayed that this mainstream studio movie like stole his idea, and like watching this show, this was like, it's kind of an aside, it was not a main plot point of the show, but I was like, oh, that is kind of what Back to the Future, yucky, ew. Because I mean, it's there, it's obviously there, but it's not the thing that I focus on. Anyway, that's what comes to mind first. And I'm sure we'll get into some of that, but yeah, that's where I'm coming from today. But why are we talking about it?
I will tell our listeners, Tracie already knows this, I've told her this, that I have not been looking forward to recording this episode. And that's in part because Back to the Future was one of the films that I watched many, many times. Not like Princess Bride, not like Neverending Story, but it was on the rotation. And I thought of it as fun family romp. In part because as a kid, I didn't completely understand the subplot with Lorraine and Marty. Like I kind of got it, but it kind of went over my head, and I thought Michael J. Fox was cute. I loved the fact that this is another movie that rewards repeat watching, because you can see little details that have changed since he went back in time. All of that. When I was in college, I took a course, and I cannot recall what the title of the course was, but it was on race in American literature. And my professor, Ted Mason, from Kenyon College, who was brilliant, was talking about the ways in which culture erases people of color, and pop culture specifically. And he gave 2 examples. One was how Star Trek originally had to boldly go where no man has gone before, and then The Next Generation made it to boldly go where no one has gone before. And Professor Mason very pointed out, like, that's saying that the aliens they meet are no one. And I was like, oh God, oh, that's terrible. Like they were trying to be more gender inclusive, and they went straight to erasing the existence of non-humans, which, because it's like kind of an adventure show like old westerns, it's erasing the existence and the humanity of non-white folks. So that, and then the other example he gave is Marty McFly inventing rock and roll instead of Chuck Berry. And I remember feeling betrayed by Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg when Professor Mason pointed that out, and it really colored the way that it changed the way that I looked at this movie, because it made me realize how white-centric it is. And in part because I remember how tickled our parents were by that joke. And I'm not like, our parents were in the same culture that we are in, and so like it didn't occur to them, it didn't occur to us. It's okay that it didn't, because like that's the culture that we live in. But when you know better, you do better. And we didn't know better. But that, to me, like that it completely erases this like seminal portion of Black 20th century culture. Really had me nervous about rewatching it, because I don't believe I've seen it since before Professor Mason blew my mind that way. So that's part of it. That's part of what I want to talk about, is like how white-centric this film is. I want to talk about gender again, because Lorraine gets done dirty in this film. I kind of want to talk about this film's place in our culture and why it is so beloved, because it is a weird little film. It's very well done, and it is another one of those films where I am so impressed with the story construction. Like everything that they do, from like the introduction of Marty and Doc Brown, through to the like little, you can't even call them Easter eggs, but like the things that change because of his trip back in time. All of that is just masterfully done. It is a remarkably well written screenplay. So like I love that. Part of the reason why we love it is because of that. Like that is our culture responding well to very well written story. But there's some not so great undercurrents, but it wasn't as awful as I was afraid it was going to be.
All right. Well, I mean, okay, cool. I'm excited to hear, where you landed. Sorry, listener. Our deep thoughts about Back to the Future are patron exclusive. But you can become a patron. It's easy. Head on over to our Patreon and find the tier that's right for you. Thanks for listening. Our theme music is Professor Umlaut by Kevin MacLeod from Incompetech.com. Find full music credits in the show notes. Until next time, remember, pop culture is still culture. And shouldn't you know what's in your head?